good afternoon, and thank you for joining us in our new session, our MIM Learning Insights, Bite-Sized Learning. I'm Pruva. I'm the Head of Membership and Publications with the Malaysian Institute of Management. And if you've been following us, you'd realize that this is our third webinar of the series. And today we'll be speaking about organizational tools, work smarter, better and faster. Now, the MIM Learning Insights Bite-Sized Learning is aimed at giving you, it's conducted to give you various different information on different topics from finance to organizational tools to branding, marketing, everything. And it's information that you can use not just now, but also beyond the crisis. Now, today with us, we have Mr. Nazrin Wahab. Now, let me introduce you to our specialist for today. So he's going to speak to you on organizational tools, how you can work smarter, better, and faster. Now, we know that everyone's working remotely currently, and being organized is key as we juggle the different tasks and responsibilities. So in today's session, we'll be sharing some of the different tools out there which you could use in becoming more efficient with your time and your tasks at hand. So Nazrin is a passionate virtual learning facilitator who's run different virtual learning classes for almost 10 years. Now, he was also with Accenture as their learning coach and virtual instructor and designed a methodology called the NSYNC Virtual Learn Casting System. He served various clients globally and has certified virtual learncasters from Malaysia, Singapore, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, and even Qatar. And recently, he's just been tasked with upskilling over 11,000 educators across Malaysia with this method. So without further ado, let us welcome Ms. Nazrin. And I hope you gain much from today's insight. So if you have any questions, please drop them on the Q&A chat, and we'll take most of them, hopefully all of them, at the end of the session. Over to you, Nazrin.
Thank you very much, Pruva. Hi everyone, nice to meet you. This is the first time we're seeing each other, and I do hope after this MCO is over, we can all get to go back to work and be able to see each other face to face. But for now, what we're doing is this webinar series by MIM, and we're hoping that this will help you to upgrade how you do your work. And the biggest concern is that we want to stay ahead of how technology is. And the challenge, of course, is that if we hold on to old ways of doing things, if we hold on to old mindsets of working, old ways of management, then we're not going to be able to compete with others who do things faster and better. A little bit about myself. My name is Nazrin. And from 2008 to about 2015, I was involved in a company called Accenture. And with Accenture, I was quite surprised because I did not realize that they did all of their meetings virtually. It was the first time in my life, and being in a large company of about 500,000 people, the only way to get in touch with everyone was virtually. And when I told my friends about this, they said, that's weird. We practiced work from home, we practiced flexible work hours, and it became challenging to other people to understand how we worked because it became a norm for us. So what's becoming a new norm for Malaysia or the planet right now is actually quite normal for big organizations who need to have their staff communicate back and forth. So back then we used things like Microsoft Link, there was Office Communicator, and we needed to have a special area to put everything. And most of you will remember Microsoft SharePoint. It's still being used somewhere, somehow. But what happens is when you want to transition the whole of your organization onto these tools, then there needs to be a higher level of usability. Things like Microsoft SharePoint, people find it very difficult because it's too minimal functional, too maximal functional, and it's not as user friendly. So in order for us to have good collaboration tools to be able to work with each other, the tools themselves need to be user-friendly. They have to have nice design, good colors. And this actually is what's happening with providers around the world. How are they collaborating? So before we begin, before I share with you what I have, what I want to propose to you, I want to ask you this question first. So if there is a collaboration tool, there is a management organizational tool that you need in order for your staff to communicate with each other, in order to reduce complexity and ambiguity, so they don't have to get up and go to the other department, and it's not email, right? So what would it be? Tell me in the text chat, what would you need? What functionalities would you need? So I'm going to mute my microphone for about 3 minutes. Everyone, please type in the text chat, what are the functionalities do you think you will need for this tool? Here we go, 3 minutes. All right, so we got a couple. We got file transfer, good platform to share work, time, organizational skill. Okay, the platform itself doesn't give you the skill. All right, good connectivity, excellent devices. Cool, tracking. So Farah, I believe you're talking about, when you say tracking, you mean tracking of tasks. Am I right? Okay, task list. All right, laptop and Wi-Fi, cool. Ways to collaborate, apps. Mr. Faisal says apps. This is interesting because I believe that when you think about laptops, you think about phones, you think about any devices, devices nowadays are not the most important things when you want to consider buying a platform. The platform itself is not physical, the platform is software. So you want to be able to have good connectivity, which means the platform does not use a lot of bandwidth. You also must have the ability to collaborate with everyone. It doesn't matter what tool you use. Okay. Yes, user-friendly and easy connect. Thank you very much. So Ozil says smartphone, which means that you want to have an app or a software that can allow you to work from a laptop or from a smartphone or from a tablet. And I see this, Mazharul Isham says quick sharing. I agree. In fact, when we look at the functions, okay, it looks like some people cannot hear. Let me just do a test. Can everybody hear me well? Please type in yes. All right, cool. Because a couple of people are saying they cannot hear me well. So give me feedback immediately if I start dropping out so that I know. Otherwise, I will be speaking alone. Okay, so thank you very much from everyone. Basically, what functions you really need, number one, is you need video conferencing capacity. Because nowadays, if you don't have video conferencing capacity, it's very difficult to manage your team, especially if your team is virtual. Right now, I have a team in Cambodia, and I do video conferencing with them all the time. But there comes a time when you've built that rapport so strong already that even over text chat, you can get your message across. So we've limited the amount of meetings we have because we don't like meetings face-to-face. And video conferencing meetings can also become a bit more tedious. Why? Because you spend too much time trying to understand each other instead of focusing on the issues. So here's the thing, right? The tools may change, but you must still remain efficient. So you cannot blame the tool. You must learn how to use the tool, and you must learn how to use it efficiently. Number two, you must have a material repository. You must have some place to store all of your documentation. So at the minimum, it is a shared drive, right? At the minimum, it could be Google Drive, it could be OneDrive, which comes with a lot of your current systems. If your email address is using G Suite or Google Suite, then you probably have a Google Drive for you to store stuff on, right? And then the third one is, I like one of you said, I want chat ability. I want their ability to have quick response because email takes too long. So you must also have a quick response tool. And that being said, in the limited time that we have, I'm going to show you 3 collaboration platforms. You'll find that they look pretty similar. That's because they are designed for efficiency, and a lot of them agree on the same design specs. The first collaboration platform is Workplace by Facebook. Surprising, I know, because you think, Facebook? Facebook, isn't that social media? Yes, it is. And here's the thing. Facebook was around since 2006, I believe. So after decades of being around, social media is a collaboration tool. So Facebook discovers that it can use its strength in social media, the tools that they use, the groups, the ability to add members and remove members, ban members, the ability to create secret groups or discussions, the ability to have chats and video calls. All of that is exactly what an organization needs. So what they did was they created Workplace, which runs on the Facebook engine. But every organization will have its own workplace, does not mix with anyone else. So I have a friend who works at a bank in Cambodia. It's a Malaysian bank. He has his Facebook account, but he also has his workplace account. So both of them are unrelated, but they're both run by Facebook. The second one is MS Teams. Everybody should be familiar with this one because Microsoft is now pushing out MS Teams, downloadable for free. But within the organization, you need to have one admin to take care of Microsoft Teams. The third one is called Lark by Lark Suite. And full disclaimer, I don't work for any of them. They're not paying me. But when I was asked to run this webinar, I chose the 3 easiest and probably the 3 cheapest ones that you could safely install or safely run for your organization. So let's take a look at each and every one of these. Lark by Lark Suite, very difficult to trace, but if I understand it right, Lark is based in Singapore, but they have representatives globally. They have representatives in Malaysia, I know that. So each and every one of these, you can contact them, you can find out, or you can just sign up, just like a user. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to stop my share, and let's go to the first one, which is Workplace. All right. Please hold for a while. Okay. Please tell me if you can see my screen. There should be a W on the top left. All right, cool. So everyone can see this. This is what Workplace looks like. In the middle of the screen, you see something similar to a Facebook news feed. And this is where you can add photos. And Facebook being a very Gen Y, not millennial, but very Gen Y sort of organization, now adds in feelings and activities. What do you want to say how you feel? You can decide where you want to post. You can post into your company social, which means everybody in the company can see your posting. You can post it to a marketing team, a general group, company announcements, project updates, things like that. So let's try and post into the general. We say, hello, I am back at work. See you at lunch. So my friend from that bank showed me the news feed of his bank's workplace, and it was so amazing because everybody was sharing what they did over the weekend, what they did for the bank in terms of customer, CRM, customer relationship management, charities that they work with the bank over the weekends, things like that. So you can actually post this, but this is general, right? You can add your company logo here. You have a knowledge library here that you can add things to. Okay, collect company resources all in one page. You can have your groups here, just like you have Facebook groups. You can have your directory, which is where you add all of your team members, or in this case, in my company, there's only me and my wife, right? And you can have events. So when you set up an event, you can invite people or the whole company to the event, or only certain people. Now, here's the thing that's interesting is that You can have notes. You can follow co-workers. You want to watch, well, I can only follow my wife right now. You can watch anything you want, anybody you want. You want to follow them. You want to know exactly what they're doing, just like Facebook. So Sylvia has a question: how to create a workplace Facebook account? Well, all you have to do is go to workplace.facebook.com. Yep. Or you just search on Google, Workplace by Facebook, and it will take you to that site for you to set it up. All right. I hope that answers the question. So here are your notifications, just like Facebook, except Facebook's notifications are top right. Here, all of the notifications on the left. And if you notice, I have not modified the screen. The text is nice and big. Very difficult for you to miss that. You can also have chats, which is also like Facebook chat. You can have chats with any employee in the company or with your CEO. I don't know. You can try that. And if you are admin, only you can see this admin panel. You can actually create those groups for them. All right. So we want to keep questions, as much questions for later. Afroja, it is free. It is free, but there are certain things that if you want, you need to pay for. For now, Workplace is free, just like once upon a time, G Suite was free, Google Suite was free. All right, so let's keep a track of those questions, and we'll come back to those later. I'm going to pause share, and I'm going to show you the second one, which is MS Teams. And I believe, let me just do a check. How many people are familiar with Microsoft Teams? Yes or no in the text chat? Okay, so yes, no, no, yes. Okay, I'll make this easy for you. Some people say no, some people say yes. I'm just going to go and do this very quickly. So, tell me when you can see my Microsoft Teams screen, yes or no? Okay, here we go. Microsoft Teams is just a bit more serious version of Workplace. If Workplace was created by Gen Ys, then Microsoft Teams was created by Gen Xs, which means that if you look at the design, you look at it, it's a very serious place. Okay, you have the chat, okay, you have your calendar, and you can make video calls straight from in here. So if you have your contact list, right? Your contact list should be, you can link it up to your Microsoft Outlook so that all of the contacts are right here. You have your history of calls and you have your voicemail. You can see I don't use MS Teams as much because I don't have a very big organization. But when clients invite me to teach courses using MS Teams, then they have to host me on their MS Teams, not me. So they have to call me, they have to set up the call, and I teach inside that call, conference call. MS Teams also has the functionality of the material repository. You can keep stuff in here. So all of this, you can either save it on your shared drive and link it here, so it knows exactly where to find it. Now the thing about Microsoft Teams is it's usually built for a very large organization. Okay, but the good news is Microsoft has so many apps that you can add on. Now here's the part where it gets interesting. If you're in HR or you're in finance, take a look at this cool stuff you can add on. Okay, so you can have a go-to meeting webinar link. If you don't want to use the internal Microsoft Teams video conferencing, you can actually set up a webinar. You can use Microsoft Forms where you want your staff to type in information into a form that you can collect in an Excel spreadsheet. You have Microsoft Planner where you can actually give tasks to certain employees in the organization and you can track whether they've done it or not. They actually have to self-report whether it's have not started, halfway done, almost done, or complete. So you actually get a traffic light there that tells you whether they've completed it or not. And so many other apps you can add in. I'm just going to go slowly. Okay, some people might want stocks, get real-time stock quotes and share them in a conversation. Some people might use SurveyMonkey, which is also another type of survey and forms tool. You can use Miro, which is a collaborative a collaborative whiteboard. I want you to imagine a whiteboard where all of us can write together at the same time. I know if you've used Zoom before, Zoom has that whiteboard functionality. But for MS Teams, you actually need to attach this app. And so many more. As I scroll down, it's almost never ending. There's so many apps that you can add on. Most of them, if I understand it right, is free, but there are some that you need to add on. Anybody in L&D who is teaching, okay, so here you go. You got an LMS add-on app which turns MS Teams into a classroom. So you can actually use it for learning. So for those who are already familiar with Microsoft Teams, I apologize. For those who are not familiar, I hope this was an interesting walkthrough for you. I won't go through everything else because most of the functionalities are pretty similar to Lark and also Workplace. Like I said, they designed it similar because they realize people need the same things. They basically need video conferencing, they need a material repository, they need a chat. So you got your chats right there. Okay, so let's still leave some time for questions. I'm going to pause share and I'm going to show you the last one for today, which is Lark. Okay, tell me in the text chat, can you see my screen for Lark? You should see my face in the top left. All right, cool. I saw some interesting questions fly by. Zoom was bought by Microsoft? No, Zoom is still independent. The story goes that the founder of Zoom used to work for Cisco, and he proposed to the Cisco leadership to create something like Zoom. So he proposed Zoom, but they did not like it, so he left the company and he created Zoom. It was only later that Cisco realized their mistake and they bought a small company, WebEx, and they developed it from that. So WebEx is similar to Zoom. But you see, Zoom is not a full collaborative tool. It's only a video conferencing tool. Whereas Lark, MS Teams, and Workplace has video conferencing functionalities, has a cloud functionality. It also has a chat functionality. Zoom cannot do that. You need to actually start a meeting in order to have that. But for all these three that I'm showing you today, you never log off. You're always on. So think about being always connected to your office mates when you can see them, but this is virtual. Okay. Ozil asked the question, why is Zoom banned by some companies? Well, there's one of it is because of security issues. There's a claim that Zoom is not careful about the security. And there's also a claim that they are mining data, customer data, because the owner is Chinese, and that they're claiming that he feeds data back to China. And I know it sounds a little bit political, but because the question needs to be answered, there are more and more companies using Zoom now because they realize that that actually is not much of a security issue. In fact, there have been several cybersecurity conferences that will actually run on Zoom. So we're going to pause, leave that for later, and just continue with Lark for a while. Now that I've shown you the first two, Lark should be pretty easy because it has the same chat functions. It has same meeting functions with shared screen. So you look at this, it's like Zoom is built in to Lark, as if you also have your calendar and your material repository, your documents. You have your contacts, and you have your apps. So when you see that three different big organizations have designed it the same way, you pretty much understand that, oh, okay, this is probably already as efficient or as maximized as possible already. So you'll find that even Workplace has a lot of apps. But the challenge is Workplace is a very young company. It's very new. So it does not have as much apps as, say, Microsoft or Facebook. But it does have some interesting things that the others don't have. You got a payment request here you can add on. So when you click on that, you can request for payment from your clients. Okay, taking a bit a while. So you can request the amount, payment method. Let's see, what is that? Cash, bank card, check, wire transfer, bank draft. Okay, so I think finance would love this. You got your approval, you got notified. Okay, let's see what other apps we have. So close that. You got purchase, Because out of that's pretty much simple one. Business trip request. Okay, so if I was an employee in your company and you're using Luck, I want to request. Who do I request it from? I need an approver, and I need to notify someone. So basically, all of these platforms are the same, except that depends on what apps they offer to give you that functionality. For example, your phone is a phone, but it is the apps that make it powerful. I recently went with my mom to Nagoya. I think you know Nagoya, right? To buy cloth, and there was this color that I loved, but I didn't know what the color was. So I actually went online and I searched for the app. There actually is an app that identifies colors. So I installed the app. I pointed it at the cloth, and I took that and I turned it into the color of my logo, because I'm upgrading my company logo. Okay, so very, very interesting question from Mitra. Which one do you think is the best for an organization? I cannot say. However, MS Teams is by Microsoft, and Microsoft is by far the one with most experience. I'm choosing my words very carefully. Most experience in terms of work collaboration, and also they have alignment with their other tools like Microsoft Office. Workplace does not have that. Luck does not have that. So if you're already using Microsoft as a base in your organization, then getting MS Teams, getting all other Microsoft add-ons would be helpful. If you're based on G Suite, which is Google, then it's best to use Google, because Google also has its Docs, has its spreadsheet, which is called Sheets, I think. It has all of that. Okay. Yvonne, I think I just answered that question. So G Suite is, in my experience, not as good, but it is better designed. It has easier functionality versus more functionality. All right. Thank you very much. Frederick says, how about personal or Soho? When you say personal or Soho, you mean just one person in the company, right? Well, if it's only you in the company, like me and my wife, you don't actually need this. I would recommend this for 15 and above. So if you have more than 15 staff, and Workplace is best for that, because it's free and it's easy to use. Okay. Thank you very much. So there's a few here. Yes, MS Team requires big bandwidth, and there's a few reasons for that, because they have a lot of security functions. It just takes up a lot of that data. So you have to, there's a trade-off. You want lean, you go for Luck. You want fast, you go for Workplace. You want safe, you go for MS Teams. There's always pros and cons. Okay, it is 2:28 right now, and I'm going to pass this back to, who am I passing it back to? Puva. Puva, are you there?
Hi.
Okay, there's a lot of questions, and I'm lucky I chose only 3 for today. Because, I will have to say I am not an expert in everything, so if I don't manage to answer your questions, I apologize.
We do have several. There's a lot coming in.
A lot.
The first one which you asked about on when you spoke about Facebook and Workplace via Facebook. I think that's very interesting, because most of us look at Facebook as a social media platform. We look at it as something where we put on news about ourselves, updates on ourselves, on our daily lives, you wouldn't think of it as something very formal, something that you use for organizations. So I think that's why a lot of people are asking. And one of the questions asked is it like an intranet portal for a company within Facebook if you're using Workplace?
Okay, the word intranet is a very old word that means something that doesn't exist much anymore. Once upon a time, intranet means that you install it on your servers in your company. But now with cloud and SaaS, right? You want to look this up if you're not familiar with it. SaaS means service as a... What is the other S? I need help here. Something as a software as a service. So if you sign up for Workplace, you don't actually have to install anything. It runs off the cloud. Luck, on the other hand, there's 2 versions. You can run it off the cloud, and you can install on your desktop as well. There was one question there: can we install on behalf of the company? No. If you want to do that, you can only set up for your own company. For example, the one I showed you was for my own company. If you set it up, then you invite your friends from your colleagues to come in. That becomes a mini company and you take care of that. But the organization must have one admin or few admins that controls that. It is mandated by the company. But technically, yes, you can set up for just your department. But I don't think that's what you want to do.
So, but Jennifer Mock has asked as well. So, does everyone need an FB account to add it to Workplace?
No, not at all. You don't need a Facebook account at all. When you do Workplace, it starts from scratch.
Right.
If I remember right, you have an option of linking the accounts.
Yeah. So someone has asked as well. Do we have an option, or is it something automatic? Do you link your personal Facebook account with the Workplace, or is it?
No, you have to do it manually, because if you link to your Facebook account, then the data gets shared, and that's all I know. But I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend you link your Workplace work account to your social Facebook account. I wouldn't recommend that. Keep it separate.
Yeah, one is formal, one is for play, right?
Thank you, Fauzia. It slipped my head. Software service, SAS.
Yeah, never mix work and play. So the other thing that a few people have asked, and one is from Queenie Pen. Queenie Pen has asked, how about privacy settings using these apps? Is it safe?
Difficult to say. Why? Because all of these tools get updated every single day. Yeah, it's just a constant battle to keep up with them. For example, Zoom once upon a time did not expect to have like billions of users, so they did not have as much safety features automatically turned on. Zoom is like, if I were to give you an analogy, everyone know what Photoshop is, right? If you know what Photoshop is and you've tried your hand at it and you go, oh my god, this is so difficult. Yes, it's because only graphic designers use Photoshop. But if you've ever used MS Paint inside your laptop, MS Paint is easy, right? Okay, so Zoom is Photoshop. It is meant to be used by people who know all of the functionalities. So when the lockdown came, almost everyone said, oh, we must start using Zoom, but they never learned how to use it. So then you have Zoom bombing, you got nude pictures, all of these coming in, and it had nothing to do with security. It just had to do with them not using the security functions properly. For example, you set up a Zoom meeting and then you publish it online, that link. Any Tom, Dick and Harry can come in. But if you set up a Zoom meeting with a password, or you set up registration, every human being you invite gets a different link, right? So if I were to invite Kuva to my meeting, she will get a different link. Ozzy will get a different link. Farah will get a different link. So nobody gets the same link, which means nobody can crash your meeting. Yeah? So where Zoom is concerned, it was mostly about not knowing how to use the security functions. But for Google Meet, for example, Google Meet is like MS Paint. It's very simple. So if you know, Google now has given for free their video conferencing function called Google Meet. Once upon a time, only for G Suite paid users. Now everyone can use it for free because they want to fight with Zoom.
Right. So yeah, now that you mentioned about G Suite paid users, a lot of people have actually asked about G Suite as well, because I think most organizations actually have G Suites. So do you think, in your opinion, would G Suite work best as a work collaboration tool? So we've got that from Tae Yin Min, who's asked, is G Suite good for work collaboration? And also Yvonne has also asked that if a company using G Suite as a base, would that be something you could work on in terms of an organizational tool?
Okay, I cannot give you a blanket answer. For me, things like SharePoint is still better because it has layers and layers of functionality. So for example, in SharePoint, let's just do, anybody know SharePoint? Do you know what I'm talking about? Microsoft SharePoint, yes or no? Okay, I apologize for that. So Microsoft SharePoint is like a cloud drive that you have on your servers, or at least the server that you are renting on. And all of your company's documents are stored there. So when, for example, you want to modify or edit a document, you actually have to check out a document first. Now, has this ever happened before? You open up a Microsoft document on your laptop and then you accidentally open it up again and it says locked for editing. It says read only because you've tried to open it up a second time. Okay? SharePoint has the same function. When you check out the document, nobody else can edit it until you are done and then you check it back in. So it has very good security functions. Here's the problem. When you forget to check it back in and you go home, none of your colleagues can edit that document. So it takes a lot of self-discipline. Where G Suite is concerned, G Suite has something called Google Drive. And Google Drive doesn't have those layers of functionalities to protect it from being it has edit, so you can edit, you can view. I think that those are the primary two. You can either view or edit. So if you miss set, then somebody can delete your documents totally. So in my opinion, even though I love Google, I love G Suite, I think Microsoft is still leading in that sense. But Google is prettier. Pretty designed.
Right. Moving away a little bit from G Suite and Microsoft. Now, Muhammad Mahazarul Islam. Now, he's asked, can we use any of these three apps from the workplace to Microsoft Teams and Lark? Can we use any of it in terms of customers? Can we make it a customer room? So now we're looking at organizations within. You're keeping it within your organization, so everyone's secured in a platform on its own. But how do you reach out your customers? Would Workplace allow you to reach out to your customers' Facebook accounts via your customers' Facebook accounts, or would there be any other options?
I cannot say for sure because I've not used Workplace that much. But from the feedback I have from my friends who do, yes, you can. Yep. But those functionalities can go away just as easy. Facebook suddenly says, "Oh, we're not supporting this anymore." So the answers I give, I think the answers we give nowadays will always be right now, yes, possible. Because once upon a time, if anybody is young enough to remember, Facebook limited how much you could type into the status update. Remember those? It was worse. It was like Twitter, but I think it was about 250 characters only. Now you can type as much as you want, and there actually is a limit. I think about 23,000 characters. So things change every single day. But to answer your question right now, yes, you can.
Okay.
I just don't want you guys going away saying, "Hey, hari tu Nazlin kata can. Now today why cannot?" It depends on the developers.
So if let's say Facebook, you can't do it Facebook, what are the options you have to reach your customer base?
What do you mean by reach customer base? Are you saying customer social media?
So basically, how do you connect with your customers in, through collaborations? You want to send them things, or your clients, you want to send them things. You want to, like what you said earlier, you want to have a conversation with them. You want to have, you want immediate access. You want immediate response as well. What would be your best option?
Okay, a bit controversial, but WhatsApp for business. So if you look in your Play Store or you look in your Apple App Store, there is, aside from WhatsApp, there's another app called WhatsApp for Business where you can actually set up a dedicated phone number, a dedicated mobile number for your company, representing your company, but through WhatsApp. So that can be done. And for quick response, that's actually fastest because you get straight into their phone, and it's something that they check every day. So from their side, they'll see this notification. This chat is with a business account. Right. So no, for now, like Lark or MS Teams, I don't see a functionality where you can integrate WhatsApp into that. Usually, it's third-party software developers that create that for you.
Okay. So in terms of organizing your customers and your response to them, WhatsApp Business would be the best option.
Yes. Also, because you can actually customize bots. There are robots, but they actually call them bots. So these are small software that can answer on your behalf. So if you've ever chatted with a business account, especially if you're friends, if you have a friend who is a business person and has converted that into his phone number into a business account, you say, "Hi Zach," and then you get a reply, "Thank you for your inquiry. We are busy right now. We'll get back to you as soon as possible." But they've converted it into a business account, and there is a bot that's replying on their behalf.
Nice. Okay, now Lam Fei Xiong has just asked as well. Collaborative platform enables ease of communication within the group, but it may also mean employees spend more time chatting instead of focusing on productive work. Would that be the case?
Well,
You can
I guess that depends on the company culture. It depends on how well you manage your people, especially if you're transitioning, right? But I guess there is little danger of that if everyone is on there, right? If everyone's on workplace, including your boss, including your supervisor, then you have pros and cons, of course. But even with MS Teams, they have chat function. Even before MS Teams, we had Microsoft Link, Microsoft Office Communicator, which was a Yahoo Messenger version, right, for work. There was always that potential for that to happen. But I guess this is not a tool issue. This is more a management issue, if anything else.
Okay, so before we wrap up, just a question. Now, we spoke about the 3 different types of organizational tools, and I think it applies a lot with communication and collaborative initiatives with your colleagues, with your organization as a whole. Now, in your opinion, if let's say we're using something for personal development, if you want to organize yourselves now that everyone's working remote, everyone's working from home and various different places, you've got tons of disruptions, distractions. What would be the easiest tool which someone can use to organize themselves when it comes to work? What would you say they can use immediately and basically something user-friendly?
Okay. If you are familiar with Facebook, then the easiest to transition will be Workplace between the 3. Right? If you're familiar with Facebook, then that's the easiest one because you'll recognize a lot of the functionalities in there. So key takeaway right there would be if you're confused which one you want to choose, then Workplace is easiest to transition. Plus, you don't need to download anything. You work off of the cloud immediately. Easiest to set up.
Nice. And if it's an organization?
If it's an organization, right now I'd say stick with MS Teams. Again, they're not paying me anything. But if you're an organization and you're concerned about safety, stick with Microsoft and MS Teams for now until something else better comes along. Lark, I dare not say too much more about it because it's still very young. But a lot of people have been very excited about it because they are open to new ideas and they are taking feedback from customers and they're designing new apps based on that feedback. So Microsoft is very big, right? So they don't listen to you as much. You can't even get to speak to a human being. Google, Facebook, Microsoft, very difficult to get a human being on the line for customers. But Lark, they still listen to you for now. So if you want to be cutting edge, bleeding edge, then if you're one of these very gung-ho sort of organizations, maybe you want to invest in Lark because it is more affordable right now. So it depends on what you need. More security, MS Teams, quick startup, Workplace, and if you want to see what the future looks like, try Lark.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I think Nazri, that was quite informative. We looked at 3 new tools which I think most of us would probably need to explore more. And I think, like you said, what the best part about these are like Workplace and Microsoft Teams. It's free at the moment, so you can try it. You can explore it and try different things without having to spend anything unless you're comfortable. So once you get comfortable, then you can spend on it, which I think it's amazing. It gives I think everyone who's listening today will give them an insight as well what's happening. Is there anything you'd like to add before we end?
I attend a lot of webinars and I know exactly what it feels like when your questions are not answered. So I apologize for those who have asked and I am not able to get to those. But I want to scroll through very quickly and there's questions about Asana and Zoho. Well, I apologize, I don't have any information about that. So I will not be able to answer them well. there's something there about Zoom and email. Zoom does not provide email service, so it's not actually a platform. Yeah, so Zoom is a video conferencing tool. It's nothing more than just a video tool, but so it's not considered a platform. It's a tool. And let's see, anything else? Nope, it looks good. So I apologize for those who asked about Zoho and Asana. What I do recommend is that it doesn't matter what the tool is, you need to pay more attention on your people. Because one of my teachers, her name is Lori Figueredo, she's a learning strategist dealing with digitalization. Not digitization. Digitization is scanning stuff into PDFs. Digitalization means working, creating a digital workspace. And she says this, and of course, she didn't come up with it, but she says it all the time. The more you digitalize, the more you have to humanize. The more you digitalize, the more you have to humanize. Tools will never take away our interactions, our social interactions. They need to supplement them, not replace them. So whatever you need from workplace or MS Teams or things like that, remember that the more you add in these tools, the more you need to set aside a budget or time for gatherings, for people to meet each other. Otherwise, you will find that people start suffering. And we suffered through that in the 80s and the 90s. Remember our cubicles? Remember working like just working in boxes. So people hunger for that. And I think if anything, the MCO has taught us, we really need human interaction. And whether it's over Zoom or not, we need, after this, if everything is lifted, we are all going to come and meet each other again, right? So remember this last thing. The more you digitalize, the more you have to humanize. You must. Move on.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nazrin. I agree. I think humans are social creatures, and having a face-to-face interaction with people is something everyone looks forward to. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, Nazrin, for that insightful session. We really hope you've gained a lot from the session today. And if you want to learn more about organizational tools and also equip yourself with the latest knowledge on everything to help you out with your business, do contact the Malaysian Institute of Management. You can check out our website at www.mim.com.my for more information, or you could just give us a call and our professional development team will get with you with any information required. Do join us next week. We've got another interesting topic, and next week we're going to be talking about cash flows. Very tricky, very sensitive, but I think it's very important and necessary looking at the financial crisis and the economic crisis everyone's going through now. So next week we're going to speak about managing liquidity post-MCO, cash flow guidelines for business recovery. So sounds very interesting. Do join us again next week. Thank you, Nazrin. Thank you again, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye.
Have a great day. Have a great weekend coming up. Bye-bye.